Hello Cosplay World, this is Knives Rant number 14, and today we're going to be talking about sculpting foam. Yes, here we have a piece that was rejected because I didn't like, you could see the little cracks where I glued them together. This side was okay, but I didn't like these cracks, and there's like holes in here. This is from a mannequin. I made it myself. It's rather accurately sculpted. Yeah. And here we go. This is my forearm. Yeah, there it is. So I didn't like that the cracks were there. This is more or less a test piece. You can see where I had spray painted it. It took spray paint. This is just gesso right here, coating of gesso. And this is where there was no gesso to protect it. Pretty hard. Not bad. I hit it with, I was hitting it with my 4-foot ruler, my metal 4-foot ruler, like a sword, and I did manage to puncture it with the corner, right here. Right here, I was whacking it pretty good. But hey, what are you gonna, if it's taking that kind of abuse, you're kind of not doing the right thing in your costume. Yeah. Alright, so, before I even carve or glue the pieces together, I take my handy dandy saw and I do a basic kind of shape with it. That way I spend less time sculpting and sanding. Yeah, I just saw, cut it away. And I get kind of a blocky shape that's bigger than the intended result. Always start bigger. It's hard to add but easy to subtract. This is the planer. I use this for big old giant pieces of foam. I'm sculpting spheres and big mechs, things like that. When I glue them together, I like to insert toothpicks. Toothpicks right into the foam, and it goes right on through, and that reinforces the layers across their axis. Yes, we don't want them sliding up and down while I'm working, especially while the glue is setting. Once the glue is set, who knows? It's fine. This is also to make sure that it holds, in case you didn't do such a good job of gluing. I like them in there, just to make me feel better. But they're really more for holding together while you're sculpting. Sometimes I don't want to glue them permanently together before I'm done sculpting. However, a lot of the times, the toothpick is not nearly enough to get the job done, so I work with shish kebab skewers. They're just like big toothpicks, but they get the job done. Yeah, a lot of my stuff has these things running through them, reinforcing them. Yeah. And it's like $1 for a pack of these, no big deal. So, when you're sculpting, I like to start with the rasp. If I'm not working with this on a big piece, I'm working on this one. I would use the rasp for. It's got these nice teeth. They eat right into the foam. And I've done this a couple times, so I'm just going to eat more of this foam away. Making my chair a mess. I'm going to vacuum the area later. Awesome. So this is what I do for you guys. I make my area messy. Even though completely off camera, there's a ton of foam scraps and mech parts. Yeah. Made of foam. Yes, whole mech parts made of foam. And then I'll go in and I'll either use this one for big pieces, because this is cheaper. The sandpaper and this little sponge, or this little handle bit, is way cheaper than a bunch of foam sponges. And for a longest time I was like, you know what, this is cheaper. Why do people use this? Well, you have a lot more control with this. And it really does a lot better than it has. You can get into a lot more. This is not as well controlled as this. Yeah, I get better results with this, despite my cheapness. My cheapness says, buy the cheap stuff. Don't use this. No, yeah. This is actually a better controlled sponge. This is the next step in control, because you can get in around curves and bends and stuff, and sand the whole surface. This is kind of a flat surface, so you have to work around it. And the next step of complex shapes, because we're working our way into more detail and complex shapes, is this block. What? This block? But it's a block. How could you possibly get more detail in sanding out of this block? Well, it's actually sandstone. You can find all this stuff in the same sanding area. And you can cut a piece of it away. It's not particularly hard. Yeah, put a nick in here. You just sand it away. I don't want to cut another piece because I've got a bunch right down here out of the camera's view. And you get a chunk off. And I cut it in half. And voila, I have a pointed bladed sanding piece. I can get right into the corner and get a nice, tight, right angled corner instead of kind of a rounded one, a beveled, was it? Yeah, a rounded edge. You want a nice tight edge. And you say, well, that's not very helpful. Well, think about it. You can carve this to whatever shape you want. Yeah, you can carve hooks, weird shapes, curves, whatever you want. Yeah, you can get in and around pieces. You can get into the details that all of these other sponges and sanding pieces and even sandpaper can't get into. Yep. And you can carve in whatever detail you want. This is equivalent to all of these sculpting tools. You can make each and every one of these sculpting tools. Now, these are for clay, but you get the idea. This, you can use the same way and make it for foam. All these tools. And more, I assure you, much more than these tools. You get creative, you can make whatever you like. Yeah, all of these tools. Let's see, yeah, even this. Yeah, even this. Okay, you can't really make it spin, but unless you get really, really creative. But you can certainly make this sort of pattern and sand it into your sculpture. Yep, that's why I got my clays over there. So yeah, this is a wonderful tool. Yeah, I hear a lot of people say, "You're sculpting. Why not just put some fiberglass over it and make it harder and stronger?" Well, it would make it harder and stronger, but it's strong enough for me. Strong enough, yeah. For me, I think it's strong enough for me. I've been through several conventions, and the worst thing that's ever happened is a tip from like a ridiculous horn. You know how robots have those ridiculous horns. Came off, and I just kind of sculpted another piece of foam, stuck it right back on, glued over it. It was cool. And I kind of, walked through a low doorway. I should have known better. Should have taken the hat off. It's foam. If it was like that thick, I think it did okay. This stuff is quite thick enough to take whatever beating you're going to need. No problem. And they say that if you're going to coat this, you're basically making the same shape over the shape. You have the shape, you have the mold, you have what you want. You just need to make it so you can paint over it. Is that right? Well, look, gesso just painted it right on. Now I can spray paint it. Spray paint is notorious for eating this stuff. Acrylic paint, not so much. If you got a good acrylic paint, it won't eat through this. But spray paint, it's super easy. Even outdoor paint will not destroy this. Oh, here, actually, I should point this out. There was a spot where I missed it with gesso. It just kind of got through a hole. And you can you tell at the camera? Can you tell there's a hole? Yeah, there is actually a pocket back here where I messed up. It's back there, but not noticeable. Just a little teeny tiny hole. And that can be easily avoided as long as you put multiple coats on and you're careful. I wasn't particularly careful. That's another reason why this is rejected. This is kind of my first attempt. Yeah. Fiberglass is kind of an outdoor material. I've seen some wonderful stuff out of fiberglass. Really strong material, long-lasting costumes. Longer lasting when done well than this stuff. Admittedly, but that's a considerable level of skill. But you need to sand it and finish it once you're done anyway. And this, all the sanding and finishing is done before you even add any of the coating, before you even start painting it. You sand it all done, and this is way easier to sand and shape than fiberglass, and that's why I use it. Yeah, see this nasty kind of edge? I'm just gonna sand this down, make it nice and smooth. There we go. Done, like 3 seconds. And you don't need any power tools. You don't need any kind of expensive bits of unnecessary equipment. Anyone could do this. Anyone, no problem. Whereas you would probably need more equipment and time and maybe even a mask working with fiberglass. So fiberglass can get on your skin, but that's a minor issue, whatever. I have used fiberglass to reinforce thin bits and structural problems, like completely out their shapes, and Bondo the same way, Bondo. But that still works just fine with me most of the time. No big deal. Oh well, this is only one coat too. This is 1 millimeter. You can paint it right on up. So if you have the fiberglass time, that's great. That's awesome. I don't have the space. I'm just in an apartment. I don't have a garage. I don't have the driveway. I don't have any of that work. So I don't want to get myself fumigated out. No. Yeah. Oh, what else? I don't know. I guess I'll just end that rant here. Oh, yeah. I like PVC for like thin armor. Some people make the fiberglass and use it to make sheets of thin armor. I use Wonderflex. I use PVC. I use other materials that are already thin. And they're already smooth. I hate sanding. Sanding is such a... Yeah, I hate sanding. Yeah, and I'm all about texture. This is smooth. This is really smooth. So awesome. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, thought I was crazy, thought I was insightful, do all those things to let me know you are watching. I will be making that sword I showed you in the last video. Someone asked me to make a sword, and I'm going to have to make the sword anyway. May as well give you daily updates on the sword. I probably won't be uploading them daily because I'm out of batteries. I have to get batteries and all that good stuff. Hopefully I won't miss a day or two. Got plenty more rants for you guys. Remember, tell me what you want to know, because I want to know what you want to know. This has been Knives Cosplay Rant number 14. Yes, 14. Good times to all. Yeah.